let's talk about some of the statistics in the foreclosure report. Now, this is the total. The first number is the total number of foreclosures from 2007 till 2018, and the second number is from last year's, the number of Lis Pendens. Now, when I say list, yeah, this is the number of the mortgage lenders that are actually filing a lawsuit to try to get ownership of this of the properties that they have mortgaged on. And so the last number is the one that we compiled at the end of 2018. And so you can see that there's about 10 to 20% decline. But I think if you look at the overall scheme of the number of Lis Pendens that are actually filed, it is still relatively high, especially when you're talking about the distressed market. And so what that means is there's still a lot of deals out there. There are, when I say there's a lot of homeowners that need your assistance, that need your guidance and need your help to resolve and help to get them out of that situation, because a lot of homeowners don't know what to do, and you're there to provide that that solution. And so, you know, I think for those that are out there, investors, we're not in the real estate. We, you know, a lot of the times we think real estate, it just happens to be that commodity or product, but we're really problem solvers. We're there to provide a solution to their problem that they're having, right? So let's go to the next one. All right, so as you can see, I compiled a bar chart of the number of Lis Pendens filed. And so as you can see, from 2008 to 2008 2009 was the peak, and that's the height as a result of the market crash. And so when the market crashed, people started, you know, having financial situation, and then that's when the banks started filing the Lis Pendens. And then 2011 was the low, is because at that time, for those that remember, the bank had to stop filing Lis Pendens because they had a lot of litigations coming from the robo signing, and so there was a lot of people filing lawsuits, and so they basically slow down everything and then trying to figure out what to do. And so once they figured out what to do, back the number jumped up in 2012 and 13, and so now I've only been tracking this. So real estate market goes in cycles, and so I'm not sure when. Nobody can tell when the foreclosure market is going to bottom out, but I believe there is going to be a market shift now, meaning there's going to be more. So, and that's what I like. That's why I think foreclosure market is something that you really need to learn, is because if you're in this business as an investor, this is a market that you got to know, because whether it's divorce, probate, any distressed situation, they're gonna go into foreclosure, and so you gotta know options, you gotta know your exit strategies, and so this is something that you really need to be aware of. And then also as an agent, if you're on the retail market, not so much more, but still you have to give people options. You got to figure out, if somebody comes to you and just says, "Hey, I want to list this property, but I'm under foreclosure." And I haven't paid my mortgage. And then you got to figure out, well, number one, the first immediate thing you got to know is this property going to be a short sale or not? And you got to do the math, okay, the quick math, and figure out, to see whether they have. Well, first thing, as an agent, you don't want to waste your time. So one of the first things you need to do is that you gotta find out whether there's a short sale or not, and number two, you got to see if they could clear title, because if you listen to this property and then later on you go to close and then the title company comes back a week before and say, hey, we got a bunch of liens and judgment on this property, we can't close. You just basically wasted all that effort and time on doing that listing. All right. So these are the numbers that are sheriff sale that are docketed. Sorry, as of August 9th, 2019, and then last year of July 24th of 2018. So I do this once a year. And so, but last year I didn't do it for all the counties, just because I just didn't have time at that time. I actually had somebody help me with compiling this information. And so you can see that, like, Bergen, Essex, there was a huge number back in 2019. And I think that was just the banks just pushing everything forward. I mean, everything got streamlined and banks knew what they're doing and they just pushed everything forward. And so they had a huge, basically banks were foreclosing. And so, and now that things have kind of settled down and you see the numbers are kind of consistently in the 300s, and then there's other counties that have a little bit less. And so, we keep track of this to see what the market is doing and to see where the market is going. And I think right now there's a consistent flow of properties going to the auction. Now, for those that are investors, and especially if you're a new investor, I don't recommend that you try to buy properties in the sheriff sale, because you don't know. I could go into a whole discussion on that, but let's save that for some other webinar. All right, so next thing is, so I also use the home path, as well as other indicators of the to see where the REO market is. And so what I do is I pull information. I don't think I can include it in this report, but maybe next year what I'll do is I'll include the number of REOs that banks are holding and are listing in their inventory. And so I just pulled this from Fannie Mae REO on HomePath, and I just pulled it today actually. And so these are the number of homes that are actually listed on HomePath. And so as you can see, they average from the Hudson County 9, it's pretty low, but about 40 is about the average. And then, but total for New Jersey is 646. And as you can see from the total from last year was 1,075. And so the REOs did decrease a little bit, but I believe the REO market is gonna be consistently out there, just because there's still a ongoing Lis Pendens that are being filed.